Understandably, everybody's really freaking out about AI replacing their jobs. It's been one of my most asked questions over the past few years, especially because of the industry that I'm in. And while I definitely understand the frustration and uncertainty, I'm personally more afraid of AI robot armies than I am about how it's going to shift or replace the job industry. And I thought it would be good to share my perspective to hopefully ease any anxiety about this topic, because actually I'm feeling quite curious and excited about what this means for the world and the future of work. If you're new here, my name is Danae. Thank you so much for tuning in. In order to talk about my current thoughts, I think we need to go back to when ChatGPT dropped. At this time, I was a newbie freelancer. If you've never watched me before, context is I've never worked a corporate job. I went straight into freelancing after university, and my service of choice as a freelancer to start, pretty basic website copywriting. And I was in the beginning stages, I was getting clients, it was fun, I was learning, I was getting better at copy, and I had just actually signed maybe my second opportunity with an agency. Actually, this agency founder had also just left her cushy Google job to build this B2B copywriting agency situation. And we found each other either on Upwork or LinkedIn. Such a good opportunity. And I just remember finishing my day's work and then hearing everybody talk about this ChatGPT thing. I'm like, what is this? Signed up immediately, my curious personality, and started just trying different things. And immediately I was blown away. I was just beginning my freelance journey. So I remember asking it to write up a contract, just kind of basic stuff like that. And then I started to go on Twitter and look at tweets, and then people were talking about how creativity and how AI is going to replace copywriters and all that stuff. And I started to ask it to write short stories, and it would just pump out these things in 3 seconds. And I'm not gonna lie to you, there was this massive pit in my stomach, because here I was bright-eyed and excited about my future. And then I see this thing that can seemingly replace me in an instant. And, there's people chirping about how it was just the first drop, it's going to get better. While I had that deep fear, I started to, obviously ask it to write copy and see what it would come up with. And I wasn't really impressed. I was like, okay, well, this is definitely not going to replace me, because if you're a good copywriter, you know that this is not really good. So over time, I started to figure out how to prompt it better. And then obviously they started to do updates, and on the back end, it would get better and better. And my relationship towards it started to change. But I guess in this time frame, before I started to prompt it and get better, I was freaking out. I messaged the agency founder so naively and just out of fear. I remember it was probably late at night too, so unprofessional. I was like, hey, I just wondering if you heard about this ChatGPT thing and what you think, because I know that you also just left your good job to do this copywriting thing as a founder, and this seems like it's not looking good for us. She actually took a long time to respond. I think she was just so busy doing her stuff, and she honestly was like this annoying kid, like who cares? But anyways, she responded eventually, and by the time she responded, I actually had come to the same conclusion as her by myself, so I was very happy about that. But she basically said something along the lines of, I've just started this agency journey. However, I've seen a lot of shifts, even just working at Google. I've had a lot of kind of situations like this where I was a little bit fearful, but all you need to do is stay curious and learn how to move with the times and pivot in a way that makes sense. You'll be good. Also, you're talented. Just chill out. That was the vibe of the message overall. And by that time, in the interim, I was testing it out. I was getting better at prompting it. And I was realizing it was helping my workflow, because if it wasn't actually pumping out the copy, I was using it to help with analyzing research. I remember using it really at the early stages as what I like to call it, a thesaurus on crack. It was really good in that sense. But then obviously, it just started to get better. And I was able to do work in faster time, which meant I was able to take on more clients. And I was really seeing the value in it. I immediately paid for the subscription, the pro version, when it came out. I was actually able to get over that initial fear and pit in my stomach pretty fast, but that moment was very pivotal for me, because at the time I was still toying with the idea of potentially applying to jobs, because I wasn't freelancing at the capacity that I wanted to. And I knew, regardless of whatever path I took, whether I was going to be a full-time freelancer or an employee, I had to become irreplaceable, and I needed to figure out how I could bring undeniable value to a company to ensure that these AI tools that are popping up will not replace me, because it will continue to get better. better. And for me, my mindset was, okay, I need to understand these tools. So I'm not going to shy away from them. I'm going to dive into them and get really good at using them, which is what I was doing. And when I look back in hindsight, that period of time was very important for me because it shifted me into a new mindset as a freelancer, and definitely is one of the main reasons I was able to then build a multi-six-figure freelance business in 18 months. And also the reason I built She Freelances, which is the sponsor of today's video. I'm not going to spill too much tea, but She Freelances is a private community and curriculum for women looking to future-proof themselves and own their income in this weird AI era that we're in. You can find the waitlist in the description, and it is open until July 24th, 2025. Joining the waitlist will get you early access pricing, and I may or may not be hosting a private masterclass with those on the waitlist before it's open to the public. So definitely click on the link if this sounds interesting to you. So now that we got the context out of the way and where my projections about all of this are coming from, I want to be clear and say that nobody, no expert, no godfather of AI, nobody knows what the future will look like when it comes to AI and how it is going to shift the world. So everything I'm saying in this video is my own logical conclusion / bet, how and why I'm thinking about it. I've heard many excellent arguments for both sides of things. For example, when we started to build more machines and factories, people were very skeptical about it, like they are skeptical about AI, and they thought that it was going to replace all the jobs, but it in fact just then created more jobs, which was good for the capitalist market. On the other side, there's a very reasonable argument that AI is very different from everything else from, let's say, the Industrial Revolution, and it actually might turn into a situation where people are simply working less, and we might need what they're calling universal basic income to ensure that people just have enough income to live day to day, because most people's jobs will be replaced. I can see a world where both of these things happen, but in either world, what I understand is that there will still be workers. So even the founders that are building these AI companies, they have very lean businesses with few employees because they know they don't need that many humans to run these businesses with these AI tools that they're building. But they still need some manpower, some humans behind what they're building. And I think those people that have those roles that are manning the AI tools and strategizing are the problem solvers, thinkers, and storytellers who stay curious and stay on top of how to use AI, building GPTs, creating AI agents, managing them, that sort of thing. And also, my understanding of AI right now, in comparison, I would say, to somebody who's deeply in the industry, is not that good. I'm just speaking from a perspective of the industry I'm in and the AI tools that I actually use on a day-to-day basis. So with that being said, I think that being what I'm going to call a specialized generalist is the type of person who will not get replaced by AI. In fact, I think businesses will be absolutely scouting for this specialized generalist type of person. And yes, this sounds like an oxymoron. So what I mean by a specialist generalist is someone who is an absolute expert and lethal weapon at a specific skill. So they're very good at one specific skill, but they're aware of what connects everything in whatever industry they're in. They're not just a cog in the machine, but they're a connector. So as an example, you could be, as I was when I first started freelancing, a website copywriter with no understanding of what makes an e-com business successful, offers, pricing, website, CRO. There's a range of moving parts that make an e-commerce business successful. And at that time, I was simply an order taker, do this website copywriting and complete this specific part of the machine. Whereas today, I would say that I've become more of a specialized generalist in the sense that I know a lot about all of the moving parts in a business. And that's why some of my clients pay me thousands of dollars just to get on 3 calls with them a month to look at different aspects and pair them all together, even though they know I'm true expert in a specific part of the industry, which is paid media, ads, etc. So yes, AI will replace low context, competitive, templated roles, but it will not replace, in my opinion, at least in the near future, the decision makers or the people who develop the deep thinking and frameworks, which then we use AI to implement and scale. And obviously, I'm biased here from my context of never having a corporate job and only freelancing, but I think that freelancing gives you a little bit of an edge when it comes to future-proofing yourself in this way, because as a freelancer, you are truly forced to create security by future-proofing yourself, by learning learning the AI tools, learning what's new and up to date in the industry, and owning your results, having full responsibility for the results that you bring or you not bring to your clients. And I understand from speaking to people in corporate jobs or looking at conversations online that most people in corporate jobs just do the bare minimum they need to do, but they're not necessarily on top of what's new and going above and beyond because they're not incentivized to do that. Whereas as a freelancer, you're incentivized to do that because, as you could see in the beginning, when I learned the AI tools, it made my workflow faster, which then made me more money, which then made my clients more happy, which then gave me more opportunities. And it was just like a perfect feedback loop. So I continued to get better and I was just incentivized to keep on top of things. And not to say that there's nobody in corporate jobs to do that, because of course there are people in corporate positions who do go above and beyond, stay on top of things. Those are the go-getters in the startups that have equity and all those kind of things. But you understand my perspective that as a freelancer, you not only understand how to sell and build relationships with clients and stack value, but you understand the miles you need to go to thrive in a fast changing industry. And what we're experiencing with this AI revolution, just the everyday life of a freelancer happening times 10 in the background. And a lot of people aren't really keeping up with what's going on and how fast our lives are going to change. I can imagine in 5 years when I'm rewatching this video, where the world will be at when it comes to how AI has completely wiped out and replaced industries or the way that people approach work. While I've been having these thoughts because I've been seeing how the clients I work with, how their businesses are running, this is not just my own experience. Actually, Sam Altman, OpenAI CEO, says that AI agents are already reaching the productivity level of a junior employee. So what does this mean? It means that the traditional workforce is collapsing, and what is going to replace it? Fewer full-time roles, more AI and contract-based roles, and businesses prioritizing ROI over hours, which they already do. But let's say we're moving into a space where this will be 10. And that's why as a freelancer, I'm actually really excited because I am already not selling hours, I'm selling outcomes because I've become a specialized generalist in a specific industry and understand how to bring the outcomes that my clients are looking for. I have learned to adapt fast over the years as things continue to move at a fast pace. As an example, the other day, one of my clients was like, hey, have you tried out this VO3 thing? I really want to get on it and make some ads with it because I think we only have a 3-month time span before it's going to become more common and you'll see it often. Great. I hadn't tried it yet. I didn't even keep up with the news. Immediately spent 2 hours the next day unpaid by this client figuring it out because I know that at some point this is going to be more common, or if it's not, some other client's going to bring it up and I'm going to be able to be like, hey, yeah, I can help you with this, or I've done this before. This is what I've experienced. And this has been my workflow cadence and mindset for all of my career, especially after that one day that ChatGPT dropped. So what it looks like to me is we're entering a new economy where you will still work, but maybe not in the traditional job sense. I think most people will wake up and actually freelance hourly. And I think others will run micro businesses or be specialized high ticket freelancers, similar to me and what I teach in She Freelances. But even more exciting, if people are working less, they'll likely create more or consume more, which leaves more room for you if you're someone who's passionate about writing, building, or about a specific topic or whatever it is, all of your ideas that maybe you don't have time to execute in the near future because of the way that the workforce shifts. And I think as a cause of that, if you start to plant your seeds and build a personal brand or just build some equity on the internet before this time comes where it will just be common for everybody to be building something on the internet because people have more time and it'll probably be less costly. If you get ahead of the curve, it might really help you out. This is the bet I'm taking and what I really want to encourage, of course, women, but both men and women, whoever's watching this, to do. Of course, I don't know what the future looks like, but this is the vision that I have. And even if, let's say, it doesn't play out, I think it will still pay off in different ways. So might as well shoot your shot. Could be a project, a YouTube channel, a newsletter, a book, whatever the case is. I think that there will be a larger marketplace for this type of quality of work, but a lot of people will be doing it. So if you start to build your brand equity now, it'll be easier for you, hopefully, in the future. If you watch my videos, or even if this is your first time watching my video, I believe you don't want to be a pawn waiting to be moved. And of course, we don't have complete agency in this world, but I do not think that the future is in the hands of those that are most talented. I think it's in the hands of those who are the most adaptable, the most forward thinking. If you feel crippling anxiety around this topic, I think you should try and release that fear. And instead of overthinking how to compete with AI or how terrible it will be for the world, think about how you become the kind of person who, no matter what, will likely never be replaced in whatever capacity you're envisioning. To me, that looks like stacking skills, learning the fundamentals of whatever you're deeply interested in on the internet, but building connections in real life too. And I'm speaking about any capacity. Imagine you want to be a stylist. I'm sure there'll be amazing AI stylists. Chief executive and editor of Louis Vuitton is some AI robot. We can imagine a future like that, right? If you imagine a world like that, how can you position yourself and become so undeniably good at styling or developing pieces and whatever the case is, where people would literally just laugh at the AI robot? Or even if the AI robot created amazing work, people would still just feel this passion towards you. And there's a way to do that, not just by doing good work, but being a person that appeals to people's emotions and that people like and value. But that takes a lot of time, commitment, and learning to execute. And that's why I think the time to start is now. You want to become a specialized generalist today, someone who's excellent at one thing, but fluent in many in the industry that you're involved in, that you're interested in, that you can see yourself in. That's the type of person who thrives no matter what the economy looks like. So yeah, I definitely want to hear what you have to say about this in the comments, whether you completely agree, completely disagree, feeling neutral, or you have any more questions. And as I said, if you're interested in anything I just talked about, definitely click the waitlist in the description for She Freelances, and we'll talk soon.